Hey there. Welcome to the nostalgia series, Kami no Muna, before copy-paste. Before chain messages on Messenger or spooky TikTok trends, there was the chain letter, handwritten, folded, passed like a secret curse. And for one kid back in the 80s, it turned a normal school week into, well, you'll see. It started on a Monday. The kind of Monday that still smelled like pencils and packed lunch inside your bag. The classroom was already buzzing. You could hear the scraping of chairs, the rustling of paper, and that familiar endless debate. Who's going to be Pink 5, the prettiest, most popular choice from Bioman for the group project? Pink 5 was the role to fight for. Everyone wanted to be her. Cute, brave, with the best fighting pose. Even if you didn't watch the show, you knew. Our teacher, Miss Furman, stood by the window, dabbing at her lipstick with the corner of a tissue. The same lipstick that smudged during her morning throat exercises, while spitting out roll call like a flip-top MC scolding the latecomers. Kids argued over snacks, traded stickers under the desk, and somewhere by the blackboard, the faint scent of chalk dust floated through the air. I slid into my seat, leaned forward, and peeked under the desk. Habit. The little open shelf underneath always told its own story from the class before us. Crumpled paper, pencil shavings, sometimes a Marie Biscuit wrapper if the Pang Hepburn kids got lazy. It wasn't a note from my best friend Marikar. It was the letter. A chain letter. On the cheap lined pad paper, scribbled in the most formal, almost cursive way an 8-year-old hand can manage. The kind of writing that wobbles at the edges, but you can tell they tried to make it look serious, were the words, "Copy this 40 times or face the consequences." 40 copies? The color drained from my face. I could feel my heartbeat pounding so loud. It was like my ordo was screaming. I was scared, really scared. 40 letters? How many pad papers would I even need for that? I looked around, and that's when it hit me. Oh no, we were only 35 pupils in class. I laughed. At first, it sounded loud in my head, but my stomach still felt weird. Who else was I supposed to give it to? The janitor? The lunch lady? Mangcello, the guy outside selling baby chicks under the sun? Then I looked at Miss Furman, our teacher. Maybe I'd give one to her. That counts, right? One down. I chuckled quietly to myself, but when I turned to Marikar, her face wiped the smile right off mine. Shirley, you got that letter? You have to take it seriously. You know, my cousin's neighbor's nephew? He ignored a chain letter once, fell from a tomato vine. My stomach flipped. Fell from a tomato vine? Aren't those the thin, creeping kind? How would anyone even... It doesn't matter. The point is, it was climbing the bamboo fence. You know, the one eaten by termites. He climbed it, the fence broke, boom. He fell. Right, because the tomato vine was obviously the dangerous part, but her eyes, they were dead serious. The kind of serious that says she's read all the horror stories and probably made half of them up, but still, serious enough to make me worry. That night, I made my first copy. I gripped my pen so tight, I swear my knuckles went white. My hand was trembling, but I kept going. Every shaky letter felt like protection. The ink pressed so deep into the page, I could see the writing carved onto the next 2 sheets. I gave it to Topper, the class troublemaker. He skipped cleaning duty last week. He deserved it. But then, that night, I heard something in the ceiling. We didn't have a cat or ghosts. I pulled the blanket over my head, clutching my stomach. The letter was supposed to protect me, right? But my stomach had other plans. The nerves, the panic, everything hit at once by midnight. It wasn't the curse that got me. It was the laxative effect of pure, unfiltered fear. I barely made it to the bathroom. Turns out, when they say face the consequences, they don't always mean supernatural. Sometimes they mean a really bad stomach ache. I couldn't write the rest of the letters right away. The stomach ache, the fear, I was knocked out for a whole day. By the time I could hold a pen again, the letter count still haunted me. I tried to stay calm, but everywhere I looked, signs. It was after class our rows turned to clean. I grabbed the erasers and headed outside to shake off the chalk dust. The hallway was quiet, sun already low, shadows stretching across the floor, and yet I kept hearing faint scuffling behind me. I turned. Nothing, just an empty hallway and my overactive imagination. I smacked the erasers together. Poof! A cloud of chalk dust exploded into the air. I coughed, squinting through the white fog, and that's when I saw it. Someone standing in front of me. White face, messy hair, not moving, staring right at me. I froze. My stomach twisted. My hands went cold. I wanted to run, but my feet wouldn't budge. It was a ghost. The ghost coughed. Oh, it was Mildred. Grade 5, completely covered in chalk dust, probably from her own cleaning duty, but playing it cool. She stood there, pa te milicia, like the chalk all over her magically appeared from thin air. Definitely not from the erasers she was supposed to be cleaning. I awkwardly power walked away like nothing happened, but the feeling wouldn't leave me. As I turned the corner back to our classroom, I nearly collided with Toper running, panting, face covered in sweat like he'd just escaped a crime scene. I called after him, "Toper, the chain letter. Don't ignore it." He barely slowed down, shouting back between gasps, "I don't cur bears," then bolted straight for the school gate. The next day, Toper was absent. The day after that, still no sign of him. The creeping thought settled in my chest like cold water. Was it happening? Was the consequence already working? I couldn't shake it off. What if it wasn't just me? What if the chain letter's curse was already creeping into everyone around me too? Mildred, covered in chalk, Toper, running like the curse was on his heels. Then gone for days. Me, a walking stomach ache. Maybe it had already begun. At home, our electric fan started spinning. By itself, possessed, a ghost messing with me? No, Mom turned it on. But my brain, full panic mode. I started copying letters like crazy to classmates, to Meng Solo with his baby chicks, even to the music teacher, the one who made half of us cry trying to memorize 76 trombones. It didn't matter. I had to finish all 40 before something happened to me. Siesta time, I couldn't sleep. The shadows on the ceiling twisted into shapes. The faintest creak above me sounded like footsteps. My head throbbed. My whole body burned with fever like the curse itself was sinking into my skin. In the living room, the TV was still on, playing the 3 o'clock habit prayer. The deep, echoey voice filled the house. I used to hear that prayer and feel safe, but today, with the shadows moving, my head burning, and my brain full of chain letter paranoia, that voice just made the hair on my arms stand up. And worst of all, I still had 7 letters left. I curled under my blanket, trembling when I heard rustling. Mama. She flipped through them, amused, like she'd just discovered my secret business plan. She found my stash, a messy pile of folded letters on the table. Anak, what's this? You starting your own papyreria? Mama, I think I'm cursed. The teasing fell away. Her eyes scanned my face, sweaty, flushed, wide-eyed. My trembling hands still clutching the last few letters like they were my only shield. She sat beside me, her voice softening, her hand gently brushing my hair away from my face. What made you think you're cursed? I told her everything. The letter, the noises, the fever, the shadows, even the 3 o'clock prayer that usually made me feel safe, but today, it just added to the dread. I told her all of it. She listened, really listened, never once laughing or brushing me off. Anak, Topper had LBM because he ate unripe mangoes from mowing Susan. She squeezed my hand, the warmth steady, like it could untangle the knots in my chest. I know it feels scary, but maybe the letter isn't the problem. Maybe it's all the worry you're carrying. She smiled gently. The question is, what do you want to do about it? Her words sank in, soft, steady, like a lifeboat in the middle of my panic storm. The next day, life went back to normal. Topper survived, but was bragging about how many Royal True Orange he had. Mildred. Well, it's still covered in chalk dust, and the electric fan? Still just a fan. I never finished all 40 copies, but nothing happened. Well, except I can now confidently spell consequences without missing a single letter, and realizing most of the scary stuff. It wasn't real. It was just my brain. My overthinking, anxious 9-year-old brain writing its own horror story. Thanks for joining us for today. This is your storykeeper, reminding you not every chain letter leads to doom. Sometimes it just leads to a good story. And these little stories, these memories from when we're kids, they're worth looking back on. Because sometimes remembering that we were once wide-eyed, worried, and wonderfully clueless little kids, that's enough to remind us who we really are. Because for a moment, Kamina and Mona, the early, clumsy, curious version of us, and that's a version worth remembering.